The 2003 body swap comedy Freaky Friday was a pivotal step in the acting career of then 17-year-old Lindsay Lohan, while also introducing most millennial kids to Jamie Lee Curtis for the first time. That's a point of reference we needed for a few years later when she came on our TV to sell our parents yogurt for occasional irregularity.
7 out of 10 doctors recommend Activia.
And the great taste is recommended by me.
Listen, Jamie, I appreciate that you give off the energy of a healthy grandma who will never die, but whatever sort of digestive cleanse you're promising from that 4-ounce container of yogurt is no match for what I can get done with a garden hose and some petroleum jelly. Now that's how I get ready for a Freaky Friday. There are lots of funny moments from this era-defining film that have been seared into my mind since I first saw it on an airplane at age 12. However, as an adult, I am yet again shocked, but not surprised, by this movie's uniquely tone-deaf story elements that were so common in the early thousands, such as adults who appear to be romantically interested in teenagers, a perpetual stigma around mental illness, and Chinese characters who not only exhibit every Asian stereotype known to Hollywood, but who also cause the story's central conflict with the help of a magic fortune cookie. And that doesn't even touch the damage to society caused by American teenagers seeing Lindsay Lohan with blonde streaks that look more crispy than a can of Pringles. We are getting real freaky this Friday in another installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other content from the web, and we break it apart like your mom's new relationship to look at each individual clip and decide if it's worthy of marriage or if we should ask for a prenup. I don't remember many people asking for me to review Freaky Friday, but I did know that I wanted to touch on Lindsay Lohan's earlier career once again, so here we are. And I'm glad I dove into this one because I found plenty to talk about, but before we get into it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up to see more like this. Don't forget to subscribe for 2 new videos every week, and I also have merch available and a Patreon where you can get extra content and other benefits. This movie goes really hard within the first few scenes, showing us the difference between Anna, who is played by Lindsay Lohan, a 17-year-old girl, and Tess Coleman, or Dr. Coleman, who is played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who was 42 at the time. What in Ebenezer Scrooge's nightgown have they got Jamie Lee Curtis wearing for this pajama set? That costume designer was like, what do 40-something women wear to bed in 2003? Oh, probably the same thing that Lizzie Borden's mother was murdered in. We see Dr. Coleman is a highly ambitious, effective person. She's doing She's doing yoga while doing her nails and answering emails, and still trying to wake Anna up from bed. Anna is like an aggressive teen for sure. Definitely some hormones going on there, but also her little brother is constantly trying it.
What? I'm ready.
Okay, but wipe down your body with a handy nap in the car. I get that you're into grunge fashion, but when I was doing the laundry, I mistook a pair of your panties for a beige, oily rag from the garage. I thought our mechanic had been by to work on the Volvo. Have you noticed that with today's high-waisted trends, the visible midriff tends to be a bar of exposed skin above the belly button, a la Taylor Swift, while in the early thousands, it was all about lower belly and hip bones, baby. I like both ways of doing it. Although I should give you a heads up that whenever I expose any skin on my trunk to the sunlight, you will eventually see the worms start to surface. But don't be alarmed, they're just mindlessly gravitating towards the heat. I don't need to introduce you to them by each of their names. On the drive to school, we get a feel for how rock and roll Anna is and how tight Tess is.
Just gonna get a little stud right here, okay?
No, I don't want my maid of honor looking like a little harlot.
Well, I don't want my mother talking like a judgmental shrew. And then she yoinks Jamie Lee Curtis's wig off and rolls out onto the highway. And that's our introduction to Anna Coleman, a name that reminds me of anal colon. Anna does not have it easy at school. Someone else is wearing the same outfit as her, which drives her crazy. She can't get the attention of her crush, played by Chad Michael Murray, whose name is Jake. And her English teacher gave her an F on her essay on 1984, even though she clearly knew what was going on. She's following the teacher and he's like, sorry, my grade is final, even though she's like clearly demonstrating that she read the book. But since she mouths off to him, she gets a punishment.
What do you have today?
Meatloaf.
Turkey.
I don't care how familiar I get with the teacher I had in high school. I'm not touching their half-eaten sandwich. Miss Brown currently has the other half of that thing smushed under her palm. So why do I feel like she might have been just as careless when she was preparing that on her crusty countertop this morning? She said, here girl, wait, I can turn that into a wrap for you. At work, Tess Coleman has to meet with her first client of the day. His name is Evan. She's his neediest patient, as she calls him. And she has to meet with him every single day.
I thought you forgot about me. You're counting the minutes, aren't you?
No.
How many minutes are left?
54.
Is that enough time to help him find a therapist who won't come off as obviously annoyed by the symptoms of his anxiety disorder? This movie makes it seem like anyone who goes to therapy is weepy, unstable, or neurotic, but that's not true. Sometimes you're just a morbidly curious 5th grader who submits a poem that was a little too sad for the spring writing portfolio. I was like, all my best writing keeps getting escalated to the guidance counselor, so I think they're gonna offer me a distribution deal soon? I don't know, I don't wanna jinx it. But they have asked for a meeting with me and my mother tomorrow, so I'll probably sign. There's this bully, Stacy Hinkhouse, who's played by the same actress who was the mean girl in A Cinderella Story. And she's always instigating Anna. She like hits Anna with the ball, so Anna gets retaliation, but of course she's the only one who gets in trouble. What kind of prison industrial complex is going on at this public school where there's just like a full-time detention room that people go to all day? Is that a thing where you went to school? Like, we had like in-school suspensions, but it wouldn't be like, go leave class now. The beginning of the movie is meant to show how stressful each of the two of their lives are. Jamie Lee Curtis's character is trying to multitask at the grocery store. Oh, and then Jake comes up and talks to Anna.
So what do you say? You want to ride?
Yeah, I'd like that.
Here you go.
It looked like he just gave birth to that helmet out of his own ass, and you can't tell me any differently. Also, as you can tell from Anna's hair, she has already ridden a motorcycle just recently, so she knows the drill. Jake is like, I would love for you to put on this helmet to block out the fumes from all that mousse in your hair. I feel like I can always tell when movies are trying to make really distinct styling choices at the beginning of a movie because they want it to look like a more drastic change later when she has a more demure haircut because she's being played by, she's playing an older character. Anna's like, listen, I can't ride on a motorcycle. My mom will kill me. So she has to say no.
See you around.
Anna.
I forgot to ask you, why does the back of your head look like a Hershey's Hugs? The producers of this movie said, listen, it's time the world gets to see Lindsay Lohan with chunky highlights. Make that extra chunky and heavy on the highlights. And extremely dry. I want those sections of hair to be on the verge of snapping out of your skull at any second. I don't know why everyone is so like ride dependent at this school. I guess not every school in America has buses. Like all public schools don't just by default offer school buses, which actually makes sense because 45% of Americans, almost half, don't have access to reliable transportation. Thankfully, for the first time in 30 years, the infrastructure bill is finding healthy, sustainable ways to provide more transportation options to millions of Americans. Most of the work is coming from modernizing transit and rail systems. That includes school buses, all while helping to reduce the emissions of like greenhouse gases. Also, bridge and road repairs will focus on, equity, safety, and mitigation of danger to the environment. When Tess Coleman gets home, the house is a zoo. First of all, she meets up with her fiance, played by Mark Harmon. His name is Ryan in this. There's the grandfather, played by Harold Gould. But also there are all these kids running around because the rehearsal dinner's the next day, so there's like extended family. And Anna is practicing her band in the garage, so it's like, there's a lot of chaos. While it does seem like, Anna's band playing is adding a lot of noise to the conversation, I don't understand why this is the way Tess Coleman decides to handle it.
Honey, again.
Time's up, it's after 6!
She hates it when I pull the plug, so get ready for the fireworks.
Wait, so you went right to the thing that pisses her off most rather than just like knocking on the garage door? And this is a person with a doctorate in psychology. Dr. Coleman is like, I wrote the book on helping people grow up into healthy individuals. Hey, Anna, I just set your mattress on fire, you stupid bitch. Come to dinner. Anyway, I'm gonna go smother my son with affection. I don't once agree with anything that Tess Coleman does as in terms of like raising her daughter. I'm like, she seems like she really doesn't have a lot of empathy or sympathy for a young woman in this world when she must have been one herself at one point. But anyway, as the practice is ending, Maddie from Anna's band lets her know that they have a big audition the next day because of a cancellation at the House of Blue. This could be their big break, but it's unfortunately at the same time, Anna's mom's wedding rehearsal is happening, so Anna has to try to figure out a way to go to this audition. But it's hard for her to even find some privacy in this gosh darn house.
Get out of my room!
She saw it.
Time to check out those Lakers.
I'm with you.
Oh, you men and your sports teams, get out of here. I'm sure those little boys will learn to respect women's privacy and boundaries from the violent depictions of sexual bondage they can access on the internet at any time. Ryan and the grandpa just said, is that the sound of a woman screaming? Perfect, then it sounds like a chick problem. We can go and be passive. This is like right after Ryan says like, I don't want to be just like the guy that your mom marries. I want to be involved in their lives. Really? Because it sounds like you just took the door off of her hinges. Also, I don't understand what in God's name compelled this family to take the hinges off Anna's door. It's not like we saw her doing anything that like the door was causing. Like she was late, maybe getting up in the morning, and then some little kids went in her room because there was no door on it and rifled through her stuff. Like how is that fair? What kind of punishment is this? Like they took her door off the hinges the night before a huge family gathering happens where there's a bunch of people in her house. Like, how is she gonna get changed? She's a teenage woman. I think my dad took my sister Melanie's doors off the hinges for one night or like an hour when we were kids, I think. Or he just always threatened to, but only because she was slamming the door. So I think maybe if they had shown something like that or like she was doing something crazy with her door, it would make sense why they removed it. But God, this family is just awful to her. Tess is talking to her daughter and she's like, I'm doing all this because I heard you got an F in your test and you went to detention, blah, blah, blah. The mom is super judgmental.
Drake, he's just this really amazing guy, Mom.
Where'd you meet him?
Detention, but
That's promising.
Sorry we can't all be getting dicked down by Mr. LL Bean 2003, mother. Not that Jamie Lee Curtis isn't gorgeous in her own right, but if this relationship is because Mark Harmon has a thing for widows, I will kill my husband. I don't have a husband, by the way. If you're commenting, you can stop. Actually, no, for the algorithm, I would appreciate the comment, but instead write cinnamon roll. By the way, Tess, you know your daughter was in detention all day too, so when you look down on her crush for having been there, you're also sending the signal that you look down on her the same way. How am I a better therapist than this actual therapist character? I was barely even paying attention in those group therapy sessions. I would just use what people said to try and practice my reaction shots to see if I could adapt to them. Small for the screen or big for the stage. If someone was like, I killed my mom, I'd be like, actually that didn't look good. That night, the family is going to have dinner at a Chinese restaurant and get ready for the most problematic part of this whole movie.
You happy for your mommy?
about what?
She's such a joker.
Who's catering?
Chinese food, good luck.
But it's actually all planned already.
Okay, how about me?
Disney told Rosalind Chow, listen, for this character, we sort of need you to go as over the top with your accent as we did with the problematic central conflict about the haunted fortune cookie, okay? Although we can't take it for granted that at least now Hollywood casts Asian actors in Asian roles, I don't see how this highly exaggerated accent contributes in any way to how Rosalind makes this role memorable and funny. Because she's being so snotty, Tess pulls Anna over to the side and they start like having a screaming fight in the restaurant that pretty sure everyone can hear. Rosalind Chow's character of the Chinese restaurant, her name is Pai Pai. She starts fighting with her older mother in Chinese about how the two mother and daughters are fighting and Pai Pai's like, don't get involved. But of course, she's gonna.
This is about your dad, isn't it?
Stop shrinking me. It's not about Dad. It's about the audition. You're ruining my life.
Enough with the drama. Anna, high school is not that hard.
Anna said, "Mom, please stop talking to me like a shrink." And her mom said, "Fine, you're a lazy piece of shit and all of your problems aren't important. And if those spring rolls are gone by the time we get back, I'm going to hurt you." I mean, I don't think the screenwriter wants me to like the mother character just yet. Like, to teenagers, she's supposed to come off probably as really strict, but they sort of overshot it and made her out to be the Jigsaw of mental health. She, like, seems to be psychologically destroying her daughter at some points. Like, if she knows anything about psychology, she would know to communicate better with a child, but whatever.
Because I said so.
Cookie? This isn't really a good time.
Not a good time for the stereotype of an ingratiated Chinese restaurant worker? Sorry, Jamie Lee, but 2003 is actually the perfect time for that, and all other forms of harmful misrepresentation. But if this wasn't your scene that year, you could always jump over to the theater next door where they were playing The Last Samurai, in which Tom Cruise reminds the Japanese how to fight wars using the weapons they invented. Anna locks herself in the bathroom, and both characters open the fortune cookie, which says, Junie from Spy Kids. A journey soon begins, its prize reflected in another's eyes. When what you see is what you lack, then selfless love will change you back. And right as they read these, there's like an earthquake. So Anna and Tess both open the door and hug each other. They're scared. I don't think a kid's movie would do an earthquake type of thing so much anymore, especially not after all of the global tragedy that's happened since then. But when the two of them get back out into the dining room, nobody else seems to have noticed all of that shaking.
There was an earthquake.
You didn't feel it?
I don't think so.
Why is the music making it sound like her ancient Chinese secret is also the shark from Jaws? They had her walk by like Asian. Ah! There was just no reason to make this whole Freaky Friday conflict come about because of like a mysterious ancient wisdom that this character secretly enacts. Like, and it's really bad for her Asian representation in terms of stereotypes, because throughout Hollywood history, they've loved to show Asian people as mysterious or sneaky, or like I said, like trying to be subservient towards people who are usually white. So to me, I just feel like they could have scrapped this whole idea. Like, they could have been at any restaurant. For example, in the original Freaky Friday with Jodie Foster, Jodie Foster's character was in a diner while the mom was at home, and they both just said it at the same exact time. Like, I wish she could see how I felt for one day. And that caused the switch to happen. So I'm not saying we need to explain why it happened, but I mean, putting a mysterious, unexplained Eastern curse on them, it doesn't feel like the right move. But at midnight that night, I noticed this little detail in a cool, seemingly one shot from Anna's room over to Jamie Lee Curtis. The two of them switch sleeping positions. What I don't get is why Tess Coleman is about to get married to Mark Harmon's character in just a few days, and they still live in separate houses and sleep in different beds. Mama, if we're gonna spend the rest of our lives together, I need to know how much you're gonna tear up those shins of mine with your toenails on that Sealy sleeper we share. But this isn't about my Adam for Adam profile, okay? The next morning, I'm now gonna change how I talk about these characters because they've switched souls into different bodies. Tess wakes up in Anna's body, so she's obviously freaking out. Ooh, I want this.
Hannah, come here quick.
What?
Mom's dead.
I'm dead?
Wow, what a powerful reminder to check the batteries in your carbon monoxide detectors, because it seems like this whole family is coming out of a shared K-hole. I know that this is children's entertainment, but the idea of this, to me, is pure nightmare fuel. I think if I woke up in someone else's body and then I was told that I was dead, I think that would fracture my psyche, and it would push me right over the edge of cohesive thought. By the way, that look where the camera is like following Lindsay Lohan's every move, which gives you like this very claustrophobic kind of chaotic feel, is called a snorri cam. You might remember it was popularized in Requiem for a Dream. It's like an arm, like a pretty strong brace usually, depending on the camera, that holds the camera facing you like this so that it always has your reaction center. Anna, now in Tess's body, is trying to come to terms with this terrifying reality.
We seem to be inside each other.
Old!
I beg your pardon.
I like Lindsay Lohan in this movie, but I'm not sure her performance as Tess perfectly matches the character that Jamie Lee Curtis set up at the beginning of the movie. Like, from the way she said that, she might think she's working with Julie Andrews. I beg your pardon. I've noticed that Lindsay Lohan's characters tend to fall into either one or two types. It's either normal girl or proper talker. For example, in Mean Girls, she was a normal girl, just a normal girl trying to figure it out. In Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, she was proper talker, which is basically what we just saw there and for the rest of the movie, where she's a little more proper. And excuse me, even all the way back to her first theatrical film, Parent Trap, she played both. She was a normal girl and proper talker with a British accent.
Oh my god, my wedding's tomorrow. Ah, I can't marry Ryan! Ew!
Okay.
Listen, honey, I know we're in a scary, unexplainable, paranormal situation, but I don't know what to tell you. If we don't figure this out by tomorrow, then you are going to have to that stepdad, because I cannot move the dates of our Hawaii trip. Work is gonna be too crazy for me next quarter. Please, it's an emergency. They also decide they need to keep it secret from everybody in the family or they'll think that they are insane. They also check to make sure that no one else in the house is experiencing the same thing.
Harry's still Harry and Grandpa's still Grandpa.
So it's just us. What did we do wrong?
You've done absolutely nothing. Wait, have you interacted with any mischievous Asian stereotypes recently? Who knows what kind of X-Men powers they might have access to? It just boggles my mind because, like, since when do Asian grandmothers just suddenly have magical cookies? Like, what?
The earthquake, and then Pepe's crazy mother pointing at me and pointing at you.
Yeah, and what was she mumbling about in Chinese?
She did something. Strange Asian voodoo.
I need the screenwriter to think back really hard and try to remember if his inspiration for this ancient Chinese voodoo came from a scholarly source or his racist grandfather in the 1950s. Not Karen and Karina pacing the room being like, who knows what they were babbling about in non-English? They must have been putting a spell on us. Mama, you left a $20 tip on a $300 bill. I wish restaurant workers did have the power to change your personality. While it seemed so innocuous at the time, now it's like, what is this? They're like two people having a conversation in Chinese. They're like, what were they talking about? They did something to us. Like, that is so aggressive against people who just don't speak English or aren't speaking English in front of you. Like, come on. It's things like that like had, I remember in New York, people yelling at others on the subway, like, speak English. It's like, why the fuck should they? This is goddamn America. I think a lot of white people, we grow up with our privilege, so we suddenly think that we're privileged to what everything is being said in like every room. So if someone's speaking in a language you don't understand, some white people will feel threatened, like, what is the information that I'm not getting? It's like, you're not supposed to get every piece of information because you're not in charge of the world. That's the narrative you've been taught, but it's not true. So it's just interesting to see that come through here too.
You're on the verge of suspension, Anna, and you have your honors qualifying exam today. You know, I could go and take the exam for you. I'm sure a high school level test would be quite simple for me.
Okay, Downton Abbey. When it comes to the dialogue of body swap, Dr. Coleman, why does the screenplay suddenly think that being an adult just means using a lot of different synonyms? How come Jamie Lee Curtis played Tess like a normal modern American woman, and then they got Lindsay Lohan talking like a college student who really wants you to ask her about the semester she spent abroad recently? I was fascinated to learn that Jamie Lee Curtis only had 6 days to prepare for this role after accepting it after Annette Bening dropped out. I love Annette Bening, but it's hard to, it would have been a completely different movie with her. So I'm thinking maybe that's why Lindsay Lohan didn't have the time to fully learn how to impersonate Jamie Lee Curtis's characterization of Tess Coleman. I'm just wondering if maybe that's why Lindsay's performance comes off a little more like a character actor version of a serious mom at some point. So basically this scene is setting up why the two have to switch parts for the day. There's no solution. They can't stay home from work because Tess has to see that needy patient of hers, and all of a sudden, we never heard about this before, but all of a sudden Anna has her honors qualifying exam that day, which she cannot miss. I don't know why she can't miss it, but that's what we're told.
Who's Evan?
Oh, my neediest patient. I've been seeing him every day for the past 3 years.
I am not babysitting some 40-year-old whack job. I mean, what am I supposed to say to the freak?
All the kids with anxiety watching this movie were like, so there is something wrong with me that everybody hates. Good feedback. I literally remember like relating to Evan's character because I would like have these same nights with my mom. I would keep her up worrying about what was gonna happen at kindergarten the next day. Like, what if we get yelled at? What if they cancel recess? Blah, blah, blah. Like just catastrophic catastrophic thinking. So I love how Evan's character came in voicing like very similar sounding thoughts, and they're like, that freak, that little freak. It's also very naive of Anna to think that a person wouldn't need a therapist after a certain age. If you thought being young and afraid of the future was stressful, just wait until your body gives you signs that it's time to start accepting your mortality. You'll be up on that Headspace app like it's the new Fortnite. After some brief comedy about the two trying to match each other's typical styles, they like start to get on with their school day for the second act of the film.
What's that?
Dear Jamie Lee Curtis, I just watched the movie on Disney Plus where you have your ass out, but the IMDb trivia doesn't say whether or not you used a body double. Is it okay for me to ask you that? Love, I'm gonna write anonymous just in case. That's definitely a moment I don't remember from seeing in my first time watching this, but okay, I guess that happened and we're gonna have to live with the fact that we saw it. While we've seen a lot of bad wigs more on the TV movie side of things, or in the most recent case, Netflix side of things, this wig they have on Jamie Lee Curtis, it's working. It is uncomfortable though when Tess's like fiance unwittingly is hitting on his fiance's daughter, just in his fiance's body.
One more day.
Yeah, it's great we're getting married, isn't it? Even though my husband died. How quickly I've been able to get over it.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to ask you, what was it that killed him? We had only been dating for like 3 months or so when it happened, so I didn't want to pry. Hey, are you kids getting enough AC back there? I should have a steering wheel probably. So the plan is that basically Anna is supposed to meet up with her mom in her body at lunchtime so that they can go back to the Chinese restaurant and get Pepe to change them back. Anna, obviously, because she has Tess's mom inside of her, starts acting weird towards Jake, brushing him off, and just being a fish out of water at school.
Good morning. Good morning. Hi. Hello.
Rewatching that part blew my mind because it opened my eyes to the fact that politely saying hello to everybody is such a specific trait that comes from working in an office. I miss back in high school when we were all allowed to just shuffle down the hallway with a dead, miserable face and not have to go from here to there acting like everybody knows one another. You shouldn't have to say good morning to people at school or work. It's not a good morning. This place sucks. Yesterday, Tess didn't believe Anna when she said that Stacy Brinkhouse was cruel to her. She's like, I've known Stacy since you were little girls. You girls used to be best friends. There's no way she's mean to you. It's actually your fault. But now she's about to learn the truth.
Stacy, hi, how are you? Oh, wonderful. Stacy, what are you...
Stacy Hinkhouse, please report to the principal's office for involuntary manslaughter. Although you know with the way they treat Anna at this school, they're gonna be like, the redhead one gets detention for shattering her spine all over our bike rack. Also, at one point during the fall, Anna's shirt goes up and you can clearly see the stunt double's face. I was like, whoa, did they get Dina Lohan to sub in so she could take the hit for her daughter? After she gets dropped off at work, I don't know why this wealthy ass family only has one car. She's also like trying to dodge kisses from her stepdad. Anna, in Tessa's body, goes on her makeover / shopping spree, baby. Every second act needs one. That is Chucky from Child's Play getting ready before each reboot. Production said, we don't know how many takes we're gonna need of the actual hair cutting, so let's send Jamie Lee Curtis and Holly the human hair wig home for the day, and we can just get the footage we need using a production assistant and a few Lucille Ball hard fronts from Spirit Halloween. This shot drives me nuts, this beach ball getting a haircut. I don't know why. I think just cause now it's so obvious to me that the real process of this makeover was Jamie Lee Curtis being like, and then adding some texturizing spray. But you've been using the credit card, going on a shopping spree, and now she's decked out the way every teenager would want to look.
Keep on whispering in my ears, it's true. That's what I like about you.
Anna said, I'm a teenager in an adult body. I can do whatever I want. Time to get an even more practical mom hairstyle. I would have thought that Anna's character would be like crashing band rehearsals and trying to get into clubs. But instead she was like, shorter blow dry time and no fuss styling. I am alive! Keep on whispering in my ear. That's the song that's going on. The soundtrack is a lot of rock reboots of older songs to try to kind of give you that feel of intergenerational switching. It's pretty much a mess as soon as Anna shows up to her first client's appointment as Tess. Evan, who is played by Willie Garson from Sex and the City, he's like all panicked, she can't figure out the phones, and she's just sort of listening to people. It also seems like a HIPAA violation that they would have Anna, a minor, sit in and hear these patients talk about their private issues with someone that they think is a registered doctor. But also at school, Tess is having trouble in Anna's body because when she gives a really great summary of Hamlet's themes, the English teacher is like, "You're an idiot." Meanwhile, some kid who clearly didn't read the book, he like coaches through to give him a good answer and gives him a good grade. So Tess, in Anna's body, confronts the teacher after this, and she's like, "Wait a minute, I think I know you."
You asked me, I mean my mom, to the prom, but she turned you down.
It's not an
And
appropriate
now you're taking
subject.
it out on her daughter, aren't you? Aren't you?
I feel like this scene is left over from a draft of the script where Dr. Coleman was a lawyer and not a therapist. But either way, I always get a rush watching the student stand up to an unfair teacher.
You've got to let it go and move on, man. And if you don't, I'm sure the school board would love to hear about your pathetic vendetta against an innocent student.
You're forgetting about one thing, little missy, and that's gender politics. All the school board is going to hear from that story is that your mother was promiscuous since multiple dudes were into her. He doesn't make the rules, okay? He just follows them in order to uphold the patriarchy. I don't know why she's like, "I will tell the school board about this if you don't start acting fair." Big. I'm gonna tell them now, since you've made my daughter's life a living hell for this entire year for this personal reason. Like, that's a fireable offense right now. Right after this, Tess pisses off Anna's friends by being like, "I asked my mom, she said I can't go to the audition, all right? The family rehearsal is too important." So obviously Anna's friends are mad at her. And although she was supposed to take a cab, here comes Anna in Tess's body. She decided to drive herself. Tess is like, don't worry about that. My mother is just relapsing on alcohol. Definitely no Chinese voodoo curse. Anna only has her learner's permit, so she's not even supposed to be driving, which is why she's so bad at it. But you know what? Anna's not the only one who can have fun in the other person's body. Both of them have a little bit of a benefit.
This food may make you blow up like a balloon, but it will do nothing whatsoever to me. Oh, my first French fry in 8 years. I can hear the Hallelujah chorus.
With all due respect to the talented young Lindsay Lohan, that was the acting ability of Violet Beauregarde in a school production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. She really said, "It's the most marvelous tomato soup. And what's next? Why, it's roast beef and a baked potato." I'm like, okay. Encore. Once they get to the Chinese restaurant, Pei Pei and her mother try to play like they don't know what's going on. And at first, Pei Pei's mother is like, "They're gonna thank me one day."
知道这个人明天也要结婚了，哈？
怎么什么事儿都没人告诉我呀？啊？
You don't know what you're talking about. No idea. Okay, let's have lunch, okay?
Excuse me, Pei Pei, but this is no time for table service, okay? Now you angrily yell at your mother in Chinese to Control-Z this curse while somebody else that I point at prepares us a large orange chicken and fried rice to go. The way it shows young white Anna or Lindsay Lohan like being scared of their Chinese conversation just is another stereotype where it's like, oh, if people aren't speaking in English, they must be yelling at each other. I was reading on some blogs written by Asian Americans that it's also a stereotype or a trope to show younger Asian women having a strained or impatient relationship with their older, more traditional mother. So we also get that in there. But Pei Pei is like, listen, the only way you can fix this curse is if you do whatever it says on that fortune cookie. But neither of them can remember, so they have to go back to the house and find the fortune. But before that, Anna, as Tess, has to go to her son's / brother's child parent teacher conference. And at first, Anna, in Tess's body, is like, oh, who cares about the little runt? But then she reads the essay that the little brother wrote, and it was all about how cool his older sister is. And he kind of tells, you know, who he thinks is his mother. He's like, if I tell her how much I like her, then we won't have as much fun fighting or whatever. So that gives Anna and her little brother a little moment of bonding. I think that's a nice bit of texture for the story. It shows growth for Anna as Tess's body doppelganger type of thing. Meanwhile, back at the honors qualifying exam, like Tess as Anna goes up to Stacy and is like, listen, we used to be so close. What happened to us? Can't we just go back to being friends? And at first it seems like that mature communication worked because Stacy is like, come take the test next to me. Back home, we still have more shenanigans.
Sexy.
Losing sore.
I don't see anything.
Makeup, great stuff.
Hey, take it easy, stud. Save it for the honeymoon.
Sorry, Grandpa, I forget your relation to the family. Are you talking about that guy fucking your daughter or your dead son's wife? It's like having to choose between two different types of room temperature fish at a buffet. These movies are wild in with the heterosexuality. Anyway, the fiance is like, all right, I've got a pre-wedding surprise for you. Come on, close your eyes. We've got a surprise. We've got a surprise.
Okay, relax, open. Huh? You're on the Dottie Robertson show. I got you on the Dottie Robertson show.
To talk about that book?
Break a leg, honey.
Oh, you brought me unprepared to a surprise TV appearance that my career will now hinge on the day before my wedding. How thoughtful. This made sense to me as a kid, but now I'm like, what the hell kind of gift is this? If you are gonna give someone the opportunity to be on TV to talk about their book, wouldn't you give them a heads up so they can be like, not just wearing the same outfit they've had on all day? Like, come on. Back at the test, we find out what Stacy's cruel intentions really were.
Miss Brown, she's copying my test.
Wow, public school, is Miss Brown the only one who works here? How is she both supervising detention and proctoring the honors qualifying exam? Also, again, the screenplay fails to tell us why this qualifying exam matters or how it pertains to Anna's education. But the fact that Anna's mom is willing to take that test for her feels very Operation Varsity Blues. If this is the original college admission scandal, then I guess Felicity Huffman is not as creative as I once thought. She stole the idea from Freaky Friday. Yeah, I picked Felicity Huffman. I feel like Lori Loughlin she's always the punchline for that. But I did say her name too, so I guess it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. That's how I know I need to calm down. So Anna got kicked out of her test and she needed to break back in so that she could finish it. It was really important. So Chad Michael Murray, like in detention, helps her break out and break into the room so that she can get to the test and make her changes. But she also does this in the meantime. That's me when the form at the oil change place asks for the make and model of my car. I'm like, I'm not in charge of knowing what year my car was made. Can't you just like cut it in half and count the rings or use a black light or something? I think the TV appearance that Anna does as Tess is the least believable part of the movie. She basically is making up what the book is about on the fly. Pretty self-absorbed of this daughter to not have any idea what her mom's published book that just came out is about. Although it's about aging, so fittingly enough. And she basically spends the whole TV appearance being like, why are old people so when we should all be like, woo! Everybody do this, woo! Somehow the whole audience goes crazy. They're like, wow, this is what I was missing. It's not my dry vagina. Jake, on the other hand, basically drives off from who he thinks is Anna. He's like, what you did to Stacy's test? I didn't think you were that kind of girl. So she's like, I don't even know why I did that. I mean, they'll let her retake the test. And so it's like, ooh, Tess Coleman, the supposed grown adult, just acted even more immature than Anna would have. Because Chad Michael Murray's like, the Anna I met yesterday for 2 minutes would never have done that. It's like, okay, if you say so. After getting kicked out of the like TV set, Jamie Lee Curtis's version of Anna goes to some coffee shop where Chad Michael Murray happens to be working. As you remember, these two characters met this morning when Anna was dropping Tess off for school. The Freaky Friday of this all is making it impossible for me to say the right names. Like, you just have to know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. So after Anna shows up as Tess to the coffee shop, her and Jake start hitting it off, which is uncomfortable to watch, to say the least.
I love this song. Is it so lame that I would love Baby One More Time?
Not this cover, it's a classic. The original version of this song is the classic. And the Britney Army is not going to stand for you saying otherwise with your roots looking oilier than ExxonMobil. The 90s are over. Can we get some dry shampoo to the set for Chad? I swear, straight people will always try to play you some indie rock band that covered a Taylor Swift song and be like, I just feel like the words are so much more powerful when it's not in a pop format and a man is singing them. Anyway, back to this May-December relationship.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Excuse me, child predator, can you keep it down over there? I can even hear you over the fan of my full desktop Apple computer that I set up in this coffee shop. That is a thing people really used to do, by the way. At what point does the manager of this coffee shop come up and be like, hey Jake, so we could really use you back behind the counter again if this grown woman is done hitting on you. By the way, ma'am, can I tempt you with a warm pumpkin scone? It seems like Anna just like instantly realizes the optics of what's going on, and she realizes that her crush, Jake, is looking lovingly into the eyes of not her, but her mother. So she bails, basically, but she does ask Jake to give her a ride. Where do they have to go next? Oh, the rehearsal dinner is that night.
Yes? Yes? Yes!
He popped out of that car window like a Weimaraner. This is no time to stop for a puppuccino, Ryan. Your fiancé might be having a mental health crisis. Even though I know that it's Anna inside of that body, I can't help but interpret Freaky Friday as a subtle commentary on what it's like when mental illness suddenly onsets and makes our most loved family members seem like completely different people to us. And the fact that these mother and daughter are switching, I think alludes to the complexities of how these behaviors or conditions can be passed down congenitally from generation to generation. And the magic fortune cookie represents, I don't know, going to therapy, I guess. No, going to therapy would represent going to therapy in this movie. The fortune cookie represents Hollywood racism. And that's the film school analysis I went into debt for, just to hand it over to you for free. When Tess and Anna meet up back at the house, they're basically like scolding each other for whatever happened during the day, and Ryan comes up and he's very mad with Tess because he just saw her on the back of a motorcycle with some stranger. And when Anna, as Tess, is failing to be able to explain what was going on, Tess, as Anna, jumps in and is like, I wanted to go out with this boy named Jake, and Mom talked to him and found out that he's a very nice guy, and now I can see him. So that's also the mom's subtle way of being like, Jake is okay, I'm sorry I judged him harshly. And that's all based off of their interaction at school when he helped her fix the test. Lo and behold, here comes Jake, showing up outside the house, singing Baby One More Time into the windows, trying to capture his 45-year-old lover. This is so not it.
Do not come near my mother or her fiance. Do you understand?
Man, I don't understand anything.
Oh, for God's sake, Jake, you really need to find someone your own age.
The soul of a 40-year-old woman just kissed a teenager. Who do we even report that to? I guess like psychic medium John Edwards? Reminder that Tess Coleman is a licensed therapist who just decided, this forced kiss from someone his own age will totally the trajectory of this man's psychosexual development. At this point, we've gone to so many formal events and other types of they really cram in the locations on this movie. It is an hour and a half long. It definitely feels a little bit longer. Although I will say I enjoyed watching it. The whole thing, I wasn't like, when is this gonna be over? I was along for the ride. This last 20 minutes is definitely where I get a little bit like, all right, this is a lot of talking. Because next, Anna's bandmates, Maddie and the other girl, kidnap Tess, but in Anna's body, and are like, listen, the Hollywood Rock of Hotel audition is right down the street. We just gotta sneak away for 20 minutes, and then you can be back before anyone misses you. But Tess in Anna's body is like, I already told you guys, it's more important for me to stay here. But she's saying that as the mom, obviously, not as Anna. But those girls' plan gets thwarted by the security at the event, who bring them all to basically Jamie Lee Curtis and Mark Harmon. I can't with their whatever souls are supposed to be in their bodies at this point. Who cares? You know the deal. Anna in Tessa's body is like, they want to go to this audition, but I already told them how you think that she's just a stupid girl who doesn't belong in a rock band and it's not important, so whatever. And that's when Ryan is like, no, you guys should go. You should go. This is important to you. You should go to it's right down the street. We'll see you back here. Which is honestly like, come on, this was the solution the whole time.
Thank you so much. I told you he wouldn't totally ruin your life. Thank you.
You're welcome, Maddie. Just please watch the crystal chandeliers with that giant hair on your way out. She said, yeah, I see the same stylist as Animal from the Muppets. He's in Bel Air. Anna, in Tess's body, is like, are you mad at me? And he's like, I don't want to marry you if you're gonna put me into this role of the uncaring stepfather. When did I ever say that I didn't like Anna's music? Which I'm like, good point. And I think this is supposed to be like, oh, maybe I always mistook Mark for being this uptight guy, but it's really my mother.
How can you say I don't care? I'm not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Okay.
Okay?
Are you?
absolutely.
Ryan tells Anna, who he thinks is Tess, that all he wants is for the kids to accept him as, you know, another person in their life, and he's not trying to replace their dad, and it gives Anna the, like, good feeling she needs to have about her forthcoming stepdad. And he's also like, go see Anna perform. You want to be down the street at the thing. Go, go, go. I'll take care of these people. So we're like, aw, supportive stepdad, mixed family, the new normal, whatever. Obviously, Tess does not want to go on stage in Anna's body because she has no idea how to play the instruments, but her bandmates are like, we're gonna do great, don't worry about it. And after a few minutes of clearly messing it up, Anna, in Tess's body, calls her off stage. She's like, I'm gonna be playing for you from over here, so you just have to pretend. And that is a very convincing plan. Jake is like, what in the country bear jamboree is she doing up there? She looks so unconvincing up on that stage, the guitar might as well be inflatable. She said, all right, pretend to play music, got it. Guitar strum. After the performance, the band gets the news that they are almost definitely into the show. I forget what show they're auditioning for, sorry. It was a big break for the whole band, suffice to say, and the audition was successful. So Anna and Tess go back to the dinner. She, as Tess, is telling Jamie Lee Curtis, as Anna, that, look, we're obviously not gonna switch back tonight, so I need you to tell Ryan, or Jake, whatever his name is, I need you to tell my fiance that we have to postpone the wedding. He'll be super sweet and understanding, but it's gonna be so hard. And the teary-eyedness that's coming from Lindsay Lohan is like really doing it for me. I believe that she is Jamie Lee Curtis trying to postpone her wedding. She's like, I was so set on making sure this wedding happened that I didn't see what was right for you or Jake. So Anna, as Tess, is like, don't worry, I know just what to say. But instead of going up to Ryan or Jake, Ryan I think, and postponing the wedding, she instead initiates a speech in which she says some very moving words from Anna's perspective, but to everyone in the room, it seems like it's from Tess telling the story of how Ryan slowly became a part of their family, even after the horrible tragedy of their dad dying in this way that we don't know. If you're gonna give me a dead dad, you gotta give me the reason. Drunk driving? Cancer? Was it a mafia hit? I need the details, or I'm gonna start speculating wildly and telling rumors at school. Anyway, here's some of the speech.
No one could ever take the place of her dad, but somebody could be part of a new family, its own kind of cool new little unit.
What about your stepdad's cool little unit? Sorry, I wasn't listening because I was distracted by those obviously fake twinkling lights behind the cityscape backdrop in the window. It looks like they're standing next to the menu board for a McDonald's drive-thru. It looks like outside of a movie theater, the illuminated posters they put up. Not sure how close-up ready that effect was, but okay. So after Anna does this act of selfless love where she's like, I'm going to marry my stepdad because that's what my mom wants. The earth shakes and we realize this was the selfless love that we needed. Was Anna really gonna go through with it and be like, all right, on the night of our wedding, he can take my flower. Let's not call virginity a flower. What is that? That's weird as f. But anyway, they switch back because of the act of selfless love. And then Anna gets to finish the speech being like, thank you, everybody. And that's like, okay.
What the hell just happened?
Trust me, you don't want to know.
But since you asked, you've been unwittingly making sexual advances against my teenage daughter for the last 24 hours. But I think we got through it without any long-term damage. Not including Jake from Anna's school, but I mean, he had to have had mommy issues before all of this. It's been 2 days. They're not going anywhere now, though. That kid is gonna go home and watch every season of Desperate Housewives that there is now. Or maybe not. Maybe he's fine, because the next day at the wedding, Jake approaches Anna. I don't think he was invited, but okay. And he's basically like, I don't know what's going on, but well, that was weird.
And I mean, I see your mom, and I like her. I mean, I like her, you know, I mean, I like her as your mom.
What I'm trying to say is, when we make out, do you mind wearing one of your mother's colonial sleep dresses? So they're hitting it off, they're gonna start fresh and act like he never wanted to her mom.
You know, I've been thinking about that kiss.
I'm thinking about Lindsay Lohan's mom, Dina, in the background looking directly at the camera to make sure she's on screen. We see you, mama, don't mean mug the lens, she said. Like, don't look behind you, Anna. I think that lady wants to human traffic you. These extras, they finally get their kiss. We love that. Well, they kissed before, but now it's actually Anna's soul inside her body. You know, souls. Now I can't get over the face of Mr. Bean back there, perfectly framed by the hole in between their necks. First we had the pre-Kardashian momager trying to steal the spotlight, and now this guy is popping out of the romantic kiss like it's the joke wall on Laugh-In. Laugh-In, I said. Laugh-In. Remember the 1970s when we watched Laugh-In? Laugh-In. By the way, Maddie in this movie, I remember as Taina from Nickelodeon, but I also remember loving her hair like from the beginning when I saw this. And I love this song, The Ultimate, or Ultimate. One of the only original songs that Lindsay Lohan performs in this movie. Love the enthusiasm, girls. We hired a real wedding band for after this, right? Just cause their dresses are getting stretched out and the only other song they know is Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. And if that is the song that I have my last dance to tonight, I will poison the champagne fountain. And that's all she wrote for Freaky Friday, 2003's hit movie about Chinese stereotypes is really what I'm getting. That's really the worst part of this for me. Like the rest of the movie I found rather enjoyable, but the Asian representation on American media is just so beyond where it needs to be for the year 2021. I think there's a lot of great strides being made in that area lately with even major studios, but there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And the fact is, we learned subtle microaggressions about, as a white person at least, I learned subtle microaggressions from media like this, because I grew up with white privilege, and I don't know how that privilege might have carried over into my behavior throughout life. So it's very interesting to look back at it, identify it, and hopefully that can help me be more aware of my privilege going forward and always try to be like a better person. But what do you think of this storyline? Let me know in the comments below, as well as what other movies we should cover next on Clip Breakdown. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I upload 2 new ones every week, so turn on notifications and you'll always be the first to know when I've got a cracked cup cookie with the fortune inside. Also, I've got merch available and a Patreon where you can access exclusive bonus episodes and virtual watch parties every month. They're so fun. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you for waiting all my life for someone just like you. You're in for the ultimate you. With me today, I will see you next time.